Merchandising.
Yeah, that's a good way to start this. That lets people know that we're still their regular old friends that don't want anything from them except their money.
Now
What's up?
We've got merch for you.
Go to wehaveconcerns.com/shop and check out the new Brock Life t-shirt, Salmon Cannon t-shirt, Jetpack Rescue Squad t-shirt, so many t-shirts. The 45 minutes is there for most of us.
It's there.
It's there for most of us. And yet. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Y'all, you ever looked inside a human body? You ever seen like a cadaver or like you ever seen anything like that?
No, and I'm a little worried that you're bringing this up this way.
You've probably seen like an anatomical, at least a chart, but maybe one of those like desktop models of a human body. Like
with the little, it's like a puzzle. You can pull it apart and play around with it and put it back together.
It's like a puzzle, isn't it?
Wait.
What's kind of crazy to me is how densely packed the human body is.
It is.
The human, like, you imagine the main organs and systems that you know about. And you think about like, oh yeah, lungs and heart and like liver and stomach. And you picture all that stuff. And then you picture just all this like space.
No, there's no space.
There's no space.
No.
Have you ever like put together a computer or
lots of space
or an IKEA desk or something like that? And you put everything together and it's like everything's a real tight fit. And like, if you do something in just the tiniest, wrongest way, the pegs on the desk just don't go in. They just don't go in.
Right.
And you got to leave a peg out. And you're like, I guess I left a peg out. It doesn't matter. How do surgeons put people back together?
I don't know.
Is what I'm getting at.
What's that saying? It's 50 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag.
That's a human.
That's a human.
That's all humans. It's supposed to be derogatory, but that's basically all humans. Is the 50 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag. There is no empty space in it at all. There's been a huge story going around this week about a new organ being found in the human body.
Now, this isn't the first time we've quote unquote found a new organ. And it seems to me, based on the amount of times human beings have been dead and other human beings have looked at those dead bodies, cut them open, checked them out, moved around, even the living people, as you said, surgeons are inside there all the time. How is it possible that we, for all of our history of messing around with our own bodies, wouldn't know that there's an organ in there?
Well,
hidden organs?
Hidden organs. And it's because we are sort of learning more and more about what tiny little bits and subsystems within the body that didn't seem to do much did. There's a lot
of just ignored that stuff over there because it didn't seem to do anything.
Well, here's what's up. We had this sent in by Stephen Upton, but obviously it's been around the news quite a bit this week, and you've probably heard something about it. This is called the interstitium. Is the new organ.
Because it's between a couple of other organs?
Yeah, it's in between things.
The interstitial of organs.
And it actually was found and defined as the interstitium about 100 years ago, which is why it has a really quaint fucking name. It sounds like unobtainium, the organ. Oh, what is this organ? It's in between other organs. We'll call it interstitium.
It's do nothing, yo.
It's worthlessite. It's exactly like unobtainium, except that you just like it's everywhere.
It's called it I don't know what it do.
So interstitium, it was considered to be connective tissue.
Yeah.
Obviously, inside the body, we have all these things that are tightly packed, but they also need to be in the correct spaces. And so there's this idea that we have a lot of connective tissue that just keeps everything together and keeps everything in place, right? Here's why we didn't know the interstitium was an organ. Anytime we've looked at the interstitium, we've pulled it out of the body and we've looked at it, right?
Okay.
Or we look at it inside a cadaver or something like that. We don't really go after the interstitium because we don't have any reason to.
Right.
Turns out the interstitium comprises of 20% of the fluid volume of the human body.
Whoa.
20% of your fluids are in the interstitium. And the reason why we didn't know that is because when we pulled it out of the human body, it naturally drained and dried out. And so it just looked like tissue, like flat connected tissue.
So we didn't know it was an organ because by looking at it, we kind of made it not be what it is.
Yeah, it's the double slit experiment
right.
of organs.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But yeah, it's basically because we had no reason to pull it out until somebody was dead, and when just pulling any organ out of the body and removing it from the systems that it's connected to will change the appearance of that organ, right?
It's like you get something from Amazon and you're all excited about the thing you got from Amazon, but you don't really pay attention to the packing peanuts. This is the packing peanuts of the human body.
It's more than that, though. That's what's really, really interesting. So these are the interstitium is more like a network of fluid-filled spaces in your body. They're like these fluid pockets.
Okay.
And what they do...
So it's more like the bubble wrap of the...
It's more like a
Amazon,
bubble wrap.
Amazon packaging. Than just packing peanuts.
Yeah, because it's connected.
Gotcha.
Bubble wrap is actually pretty good.
Okay.
But it's also more than that because...
Just surprised no one has spent time popping it. Just the doctors just like...
Some doctors do, like a nervously.
Yeah. I get that.
Sitting there and like
very satisfying.
Yeah, and well, it also like when you're stressed and like when our surgeon's not stressed.
Oh yeah.
And they're just like cutting into a heart. They're trying to put like a stent into a valve.
Doctor.
And it's just like
Doctor. Oh. You know what? I wasn't gonna do that, but I'm glad you did.
Oh, did I do it? I didn't even realize I was doing it.
No, it feels good to everybody.
Oh, I gotta stop doing it. We can't pop things inside of people. We're really not supposed to do that.
It's just the interstitium. It doesn't do shit.
You're right. I have a theory that it was put here for surgeons. And I'm presenting it to the board next week.
I think that's brilliant.
Otherwise, why would it be there? It seems to do nothing.
I mean, look at how much it's made you feel better. QED.
Mm-hmm. So the reason we thought it was connective tissue is because we thought that they were like a wall of collagen, right? When we looked at it, it looked like this is a wall of collagen that sort of is like bubble wrap. It's shock protection. It keeps things in place. But what we found is it's more like a highway of fluids.
Ooh.
There is actually, much like your circulatory system or your lymphatic system.
Oh, it's moving. It's not pockets of fluids. It's moving fluids throughout your body?
It's moving fluids through pockets.
Okay.
Right? These pockets are interconnected.
Okay.
And these chambers, these pockets fill with fluid. The fluid are actually connected by this sort of collagen lattice that we thought was the connective tissue, but it's actually this sort of like, it's not quite veins. I don't want to say veins because they haven't really defined it yet, and saying veins would be wrong, but you get the point. It's channels.
Yeah, it's its own circulatory system in a way.
Yeah, in a way, but we don't want to say circulatory system because that's wrong, but you get what we're saying. Yeah. You understand us. Things are moving.
They're not static.
Yeah, things are moving. And basically, the reason we didn't find them because when we pulled them out, like I said, the fluid drains away. When we looked at them through microscopic slides, they didn't really show up. But now we have these these electronic microscopes that can see inside of things. We can do imaging inside of the body. And that's why we finally saw this fluid moving around doing things.
Easy.
And here's what's crazy. They don't know what it does.
I don't know what it does.
Of course not. We didn't even know what it was. So we don't know what it does.
Is it possible that it still
You don't know what it was. You don't know what it does.
That's the rule.
That's the science rule.
Is it possible that it doesn't do anything? It still doesn't do anything?
Nothing in the body does nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I don't know. I've seen some people.
There are some people with bodies that do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. There are some things that are no longer, like we can remove your tonsils. We can remove your appendix.
Sure, it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't really do much. We now know that the appendix probably does something.
Right.
We think it does some sort of filtration. It might be sort of like a lymphatic system.
Right.
It might do some cleaning of your body in some way, but not in a way where removing it does a lot of damage. We don't know what this does, but here's a crazy theory. We think that this system, the interstitium, may have just proved why acupuncture works.
Whoa! Because if you poke it in one area, it can affect another area. Is that why?
Yeah. So here's what's up. Acupuncture is basically, there have been a ton of studies done, and they all say like, yeah, acupuncture is doing something. None of the studies can say why. And so mostly we think it's the placebo effect. Mostly we think it's the stimulation of nerves in a local area that causes you like your body to sort of react with like pain and then sort of adrenaline and then sort of the natural morphine. And so it's like, it's all sort of psychological, emotional placebo is what we've been thinking. But here's what's up. We've also done studies that say acupuncture is based on this chart of meridians, body meridians.
Right.
It's been around for thousands of years.
Right.
It looks like some weird, 16th century sailor's chart of the human body. Like you would see it hanging up in a psychic or a place where you buy crystals.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. In
like
your
body meridians.
upper left shoulder, there's a woman blowing really hard.
Yeah.
And there's a,
Yeah, and you're
there's a compass in the bottom right.
there's like a raging river of guys on canoes and kayaks going from your foot up to your genitals. And it's like, if you poke the foot, the genital river flows and then erections are 70% larger.
Yeah.
It's nature's Cialis. That's what acupuncture is.
Right.
But studies have shown that if an acupuncturist doesn't know what they're doing and they are even a centimeter away from one of these meridian points, the
intense pain,
the
intense, excruciating,
paralysis,
horrific pain,
emotional distress, brain damage, Lou Gehrig's disease.
your descendants will somehow turn on you.
Yep.
Everything, if it's just a millimeter away.
Just a millimeter away, ancestral ghosts. But the science kind. No, even a centimeter off, the easing of pain and the removal of symptoms is much, much smaller. So even a centimeter away from one of these meridian points, and acupuncture doesn't really work. And they think the reason is by stimulating with needles along specific points, you could be causing channels of this fluid to move to specific areas of the body and along specific pathways in the body.
Crazy.
Which could be moving things that, which could be moving fluids and getting different things within your body, chemicals and hormones, white blood cells, all kinds of stuff, moving to specific points. Moving things to points that will help relieve your symptoms and cure something. They also think that potentially cancer cells move along these tracts.
Huh. So it could have ramifications for treating cancer.
Could have a ton of ramifications for medicine. And this is what's crazy to me is what if this is a super important, sort of a flushing system, sort of like the lymphatic system, where we could be using this.
Wow.
To cure things.
Crazy.
Isn't that
and it
wild?
took so long for us to figure it out.
Because it just looked like nothing. We were looking at it in microscopes.
It's always the last place you look, man.
Dude, your sock, your pen, your keys, your cancer. It's
always
all in the last place you look. I have one of those welcome mats that are outside of my door before I leave, and it says wallet, keys, phone, cancer.
Yeah, right.
I got it on Thinky.
You do
It's great.
the quadruple tap. You go tap,
1, 2,
tap,
3, 4,
and then you're nuts.
and then once in my stomach.
You're on your prostate. Do you have you ever done acupuncture?
I have.
Yeah, I'm a little scaredy cat of that.
So, in the years of the many car accidents, which is something I think I've talked about before on the show. I talked about it in the pre-show today. So, but it's something.
Anthony was really into car accidenting.
I was a young prodigy on the demolition derby circuit. I could have been the best. I could have been the best.
But ironically, it was one crash too many, and then you couldn't crash again.
That's the story of all the demolition derby greats.
Yeah,
Crash Hansen, Smash Malone,
Wreck-It Ralph,
all the greats. No, I was in a few car accidents in a very short span of years. And so I was immediately put into physical therapy, chiropractic therapy, and then some acupuncture on top of that. And it definitely feels better.
It does?
Yeah, it does. If you go to somebody that knows what they're like, it definitely feels better. I did it for particularly my shoulder and upper back. I had a lot of pain in there. I still do. But having the acupuncture helped.
I'm definitely scaredy pants about it. I don't like needles in general. I get weird about getting shots. I get weird about all that stuff. So the idea of having someone stick a bunch of needles in me, I think would not.
What if this could prove that this was a non-invasive way to help alleviate conditions that we previously thought could only be medicated or surgically removed? Would you be like, fuck yeah, acupuncture?
I mean, I think I'd be more open to it because I definitely have colored it a little bit with a pseudoscience bias of like,
Yeah.
well, maybe this is bullshit. And if there was an actual scientific explanation for what is technically happening in my body, maybe I would be a little more open to it. I know that shots are useful.
Yeah.
I know it's good to get my blood drawn.
But that's not. But the shot being useful is not the needle. That's the useful part.
Right.
It's the needle as delivery system for something else.
Right.
This is literally just like, I don't know. There might be some nerves or some tissue or something here, and so I'm gonna poke it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just poke it.
What did it feel like? Did you feel something? You don't feel the needles going in, right?
I mean, you can a little bit.
It's like a pinch, like a pinching feel.
They're very thin needles, and so they don't hurt a lot.
Right.
It's just like you feel like a little prick, like a little
gives
poke.
me the heebie-jeebies just even thinking about it.
It's almost like, do you know the rare moments where you actually notice like a mosquito stinging you?
Yeah.
Like if you happen to be looking at a mosquito when it stings you, you can sort of feel it a little bit. Kind of feels like that.
You ever done the thing where a mosquito is taking your blood right then, and then you like squeeze and it pops
and you watch it pop? Yeah, I did that when I was a kid. Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up to do to a mosquito.
It is. Could you imagine that? It's like you're eating a cheeseburger, and then the cheeseburger
like
just
mosquito
like
version
gets
of
gigantic in your mouth.
It's like the mosquito version of Seven.
Yeah. Or it's
gluttony,
like,
and you just walk in and you're just like, well, what happened was this guy stuffed a tube down this dude's throat and forced him to eat 1,000 pies.
Or it's like you lean over to the drinking fountain and then it turns into a fire hose.
Hey, what's up? Vegetarian here. It's like what we do to veal.
Oh. It got real. You made it real.
Sorry about it. But yeah, so that aside, I did do that when I was a kid. I did it a lot. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I would also just burn ants with magnifying glasses.
Yeah. Raise veal from
I would raise veal. My parents would be like, "Stop doing that! Stop raising that veal. You leave that veal alone."
You're like, but the market value is so high.
It's so high, and let me tell you something. You're not going to get meat this soft. It's like butter in your mouth.
It's so supple. It's amazing.
I'm going to tie.
We are enjoying it, and we're not talking about that. It's the process that we object to.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to tie these cans to this dog's tail while we talk. But no, acupuncture sort of it feels like a tingling more than anything else.
Yeah.
And
it's a tingling in your interstitium is what it is.
It's a tingling from your foot up to your genitals, just like in the chart.
Where the canoers are going.
We should say that this is all early days.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what the interstitium does. We don't know exactly if it proves that acupuncture works, but this is like 20% of the fluid in the human body. So we know it's doing something.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The mysteries of the universe aren't just outside, they're inside too, Anthony.
It's the interverse, baby.
Get in that.
Get in the interverse.
Man.
That's what I say.
What else is hiding in there?
Could be anything.
Looks like we need to kill some more people and find out. Could be a key.
If you're in one of the Saw movies, it's definitely a key.
Yeah, maybe it's a cell phone.
Could be a cell phone. And if it rings, everybody in the holding cell explodes.
Yeah.
I don't know. The human body is full of mysteries.
Full of mysteries.
And I've learned about them entirely by sleeping through biology class and watching The Dark Knight.
Yes, as one does.
Anyway, what do you think this stuff does? Do you have any ideas? Have you had acupuncture? We would love to hear.
I would love to hear acupuncture stories for sure.
Yeah, let us know on Twitter. I'm at acarboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
And you can hashtag those mosquito. Because never forget.
Never forget. I live with that guilt every day.
Oh, before we go, this is something you probably already turned it off. Because this is probably, we've already done the part where you turn off the show.
Yeah.
But listen, new stuff in the store.
What?
An Outer Spain NASA mission shirt.
Oh, Outer Spain.
Yes.
That's where, see, we talked about the inner life exploration, but people are still exploring outer Spain.
Forget the micronauts. Think about the brave terranauts.
Yeah.
That are in outer Spain right now, eating tapas and figuring shit out.
They're having jamon as we speak.
And you can be one of them because they're not real. Go to wehaveconcerns.com/shop and get yourself the Outer Spain mission shirt, designed as always by JP Cooper.